Dr. Homebrew is brought to you by 5 Star Chemicals, providing safety and cleaning supplies for brewing, distilling, and winemaking at 5starchemicals.com.
Doctor, look!
Stand aside, nurse. I'm Dr. Homebrew.
Yeah, clear.
I'm gonna be there. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Dr. Homebrew. Just, don't worry about me. I'm just singing a little bit of Brian's favorite song.
We're just to the yacht rock.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there. Whatever. And then I changed it to Bevo be there. Because her name is Bevo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Whatever. I don't know. How's everybody doing today? It's Dr. Homebrew. We got some couple good beers lined up for you, man. We got a blonde ale. And then what else do we have?
Is it a summer blonde?
It's a summer blonde ale. Some are blonde, some are not. And then, Lee, what's our other beer?
It's a light American lager.
That's right.
L-I-T-E.
That's right.
Properly spelled.
Exactly. Lee's fuming.
That's it.
Not
quite. I'm sublimating, not fuming.
Lee's a little upset because I had to cut his favorite song off.
God.
Afternoon delight.
Geneva Convention has rules against this sort of thing, JP. You're going to be in court in The Hague soon for this.
Nicely done. Nice.
It's a good time. It's a good time here on Lunch Meat. Speaking of good times.
Lunch meat.
Wow. Did I brain...
You brain
I
Freudian
slipped it.
You definitely said lunch meat.
Wow.
The only reason that Lee wanted to do this show was to get that song to stop, and because he said we'd be recording an episode of Lunch Meat.
The chat room's talking about lunch meat, so
Dorks.
I forgot. Oh, by the way, Bev, I don't know if you saw, they're also asking about part 2 of the Very Stripper Christmas from way back when for the show.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Remember? Are you being funny or like the Christmas show and the?
No, I remember.
Okay.
Let's just not talk about it.
Okay, I didn't know. I want to make sure that you knew that people are still talking about that disappeared show.
Thank God it disappeared.
You're welcome. So speaking of disappearing, I don't know. I'm trying to crowbar in this news. The Lagunitas sold out to Heineken.
50%.
They
whatever
did.
that means.
50% ownership stake in the company to Heineken.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Are they going to bottle 50% of their beers in green bottles now? I don't know. I hope not. I hope they'll retain the original. I'm a big Lagunitas fan, and I think they'll figure out a way to keep it.
I think they'll be fine.
Keep it true.
I guess. I don't know. I mean, I think it's kind of weird, right? For a long time, Tony was kind of rambling against, non-corporate beer and whatever, and then
probably somebody offered him $50 million for that stake, and well, hey,
right?
I mean, that's a big brewery. I don't know if it's $50 million, but I'm sure it was a good pile of change.
It has to be more than that, right? Because they have the Chicago brewery, the one that they're building in Azusa, that's going to be larger than the Chicago brewery, and then of course the Petaluma brewery,
right?
Yeah. So Sam was like, "What a sellout!" He was so angry when I told him about it, and I was like, "Bro, the Hop Grenade or the Brewing Network is making a beer. If for whatever reason it turns out to be the best beer ever and Anheuser-Busch wants to buy it, I will stand next to Justin as he signs that dotted line and then high-five him afterwards.
Oh, for sure.
And then expect a check.
Yeah, well, for sure. But I think the sellout part is because we've never ranted about not doing that for years and years and years.
Okay, that's a good point. So we've just been sellouts from the beginning.
I thought it was interesting because, for me, it kind of shows how the U.S. craft beer market is, right? I mean, this is how I'm looking at it. Firestone did it recently with Duvel, and then now Lagunitas did it. And it's are these two companies seeing the U.S. beer market as kind of moving to being oversaturated?
Well, they aren't the only ones. There's several others who've sold all our stakes in the last year.
Well, yeah, but I mean, specifically to to specific breweries and conglomerates, and not just like AB, right?
My guess, and I don't really know the industry that well, so this is a guess.
Yeah.
Is that a lot of this is being driven by the big players in the industry with the deep pockets are actually actively pursuing these things now. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't see that suddenly everybody in the beer industry decided, well, we've been resisting this for years, but now let's do it.
Right.
My guess is it's the hook that's pulling this.
Well, yeah, and I think it's a little bit more than just like we want to sell it and make money. So, they see the market in the U.S. in like 50 years or 20 years is going to be super saturated. There's so many breweries opening. So this is their time to start diversifying into Europe. Because the European craft beer market is...
And expanding national distribution, too. I mean, my other guess about this is for the breweries that are selling, a lot of this is about distribution. They can get major distribution with Heineken or Anheuser-Busch that's very hard to get on their own.
Yeah.
And that for Anheuser-Busch and those guys is shelf space in every grocery store in the country or liquor store that sells beer. And that's where they make the money. You start owning more shelf space, they get more money.
The craft has been just growing and growing and exponentially. And it's just like, you look in your typical grocery store, even the crappy ones, they'll have, half good beer and half crap beer pretty much.
Yeah. And I mean, this has been going on for all time. I mean, consolidation has always happened in the brewing industry. There are huge ways of it. You look back at the history of the English brewing scene, all the porter breweries started consolidating, and then the pale ale and IPAs took over and started buying those breweries out to basically make pale ale. Consolidation happened like crazy over there. It happens everywhere. And it kind of goes in phases, I think, but we're definitely seeing a phase.
Sure.
It looks like it's starting up here. So, I mean, a lot of brewers and people who open those businesses, especially after 20 years of running a brewery, as opposed to being the guy sitting at home dreaming about it,
right?
That big check might look like a really nice thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably
got a lot of debt.
We all love the guy doing it by hand in his little artisanal brewery in his parents' barn for no money.
Yes.
And Tony McGee can go and do that afterwards if he feels like it.
Maybe some of these guys
he can set up another little brewery and brew by hand if he feels like it and still make killer beer.
That's true.
But I think it's hard for a big company like Lagunitas or a medium-sized company to say no to something like that if they see that it's in their interests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be great if they partnered with, like our city or something like that, some distributor not a distributor, but some other brewery on the other side of the country.
Yeah.
And then they can,
I haven't seen that one. I mean, the Firestone Duvel thing was sort of mooted as being kind of more a merger of like minds and a buyout.
It was worded worded differently, but also David Walker doesn't have the attitude that Tony has.
Right.
And I think it's that thumbing the nose at the corporate industry for so long.
Well, that's going to earn
biting
Tony
him in the
a little
ass
extra
now.
backsplash for thumbing his nose and then before taking the check. Yeah.
Right. Asking for another zero or two.
I'm sure he's not. I'm sure he's still laughing all the way to the bank.
Oh, absolutely. He doesn't care. That guy doesn't care about anything. I shouldn't say that, but the court of public opinion.
He cares about you,
JP.
Matter. I know that.
He does.
Yeah.
We exchange. We're on Christmas card lists.
There you go.
It's a nice thing. Before we get too deep into it, we want to thank our sponsor, 5-Star. You can go to 5starchemicals.com and check out everything they have for you to make killer beer. They have PBW and Star San and Sandy Clean and IOStar and all these kind of fun things for you guys to properly clean and then sanitize your products. You see a lot of this stuff on the market where it's a one process thing, or anything new comes along, any new fad. It's 5-Star. You gotta just go back to the thing that works for the most people. 5-Star. 5starchemicals.com. Can't thank them enough for being a proud sponsor of Dr. Homebrew.
Who never sold out.
No, that's
right. Dr. Homebrew's not selling out.
That's right. We're still, we're still begging on the street corner for change, man.
That's right.
That's how we do it around Dr. Homebrew style. And then anybody who is on the show tonight will get a nice little thank you gift in the mail from 5-Star.
Handwritten card from Bevo.
It'd be great, right, Bev?
Right?
Bevo be there?
Sure.
Oh, she's not listening.
No, I was listening. I'm just not sure I'm committing to do that.
Oh, okay. Well, you said sure, so.
Well, it was a sure with a
handwritten
inflection.
card. Sounds good.
Writing is hard work.
Writing is tough.
I have to use words.
That's right. Okay, let's take a break. Should we take a break now, or should we call our first guest now?
I'm tired. Let's take a break.
Let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to have Steve on the line with his American Light Lager, right?
Yep.
I think it's going to be a good beer. I'm looking forward to it. It's Dr. Homebrew, everyone. Back after this.
Hello, fellow BNers. This is Sully from the 21st Amendment Brewery located in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park. Before Nico and I opened the 21A and before I was a professional brewer, I homebrewed on my small 4-burner apartment stove in a back house in Santa Monica, California, making my extract brews before graduating to the daunting idea of all-grain brewing. Homebrew books and information was hard to come by back then. The internet hadn't been invented yet, along with other things we take for granted today, like electricity and potable water. One thing I wish I had back then when I was learning was a radio show that could teach me the ins and outs of brewing and answer questions that I had about homebrewing, a resource for making great craft beer. The 21st Amendment Brewery is excited to be a proud sponsor of Dr. Homebrew, a great show that teaches you what you need to know about making incredible beer. Good stuff. Listen up, you might learn something. I certainly did. And thanks for your support. Tasty Crack Games.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
That's it. I've had it. I am never putting hops in my beer again.
What? Why?
It's just too ridiculous. Insane prices, stupid contracts, high shipping costs, crappy selection.
Dude, you need Nico Brew.
Nico Brew will rock your f***ing face right the f*** off your f***ing skull. $5 shipping to all 50 states, plus fantastic international rates get you low prices on Nico Brew's great selection of hops and more. Whether you're a home brewer, a pro brewer, or a homebrew shop owner, Nico Brew can get you the hops you need in increments big and small, single orders, spot buys, or full contracts. And there's only one place to join the uber special secret elite bare bones club where you'll get the best deals anywhere.
Holy f***ing shit.
NicoBrew.com. NIKOBREW. Nico Brew, your bare bones buddy in the brewing business.
Beer tasting games that train your palate, a brewery locator, and the brand new interactive beer style guide. These are just a few of the awesome things you'll find on craftbeer.com. The style guide is a beautiful example of technology in beer. Browse beer style families or turn on the automatic beer style finder and explore beer through color, bitterness, ABV, aroma, and flavor. It's really the coolest way to explore every beer style besides having them all in front of you. Go to craftbeer.com and click on Beer Styles to start the guide. Plus, enjoy the rest of craftbeer.com, the Brewers Banter blogs, beer education, how to host a beer tasting, and the invaluable Draft Quality Manual. Tons of great content that makes your beer better. Visit the new craftbeer.com right now and explore the website that brings you all the passion, camaraderie, and creativity of the craft beer community. Craftbeer.com, celebrating the best of American beer.
Now, back to the examination.
All right, welcome back, everyone. You know, I told you Yam will be here, and I am, and we are.
He wasn't lying.
This Yacht Rock channel, man, on Sirius has gotten my brain, and I don't know what to do about it.
I think they're going to make it permanent. That thing is too cool.
It is, but it's very... Okay, now I don't want to be too obvious, but it's very repetitive. And by that, I mean not the McDonald's Shuffle, but the actual songs. Like, I've heard Black Cow from Steely Dan 1 billion times in a week.
You drive where you're going, you're going to hear some Christopher Cross. You drive back, you're going to hear Christopher Cross on the way back.
And you won't be speeding.
The same song.
Oh, I won't be speeding. No, it's very...
You're driving 45 miles an hour on the freeway.
Very, very methodical beat in these songs.
Yeah, it might be just the thing that I need to get over my life.
Well, you could just drink less coffee.
Well, that's a whole nother story.
You're probably better off with the yacht rock.
That's a whole nother story. We got Steve on the line. Steve, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
How you doing, buddy?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
All right.
You sound like an angel.
Is that his real name, Steve? Because usually if we're going to make up a name for somebody, it's usually Steve, isn't it? Or what did we call those guys the other time?
I think it was Steve or Bob or something like that. Who knows?
I'm sorry.
Steve is just my alias.
Oh, okay.
That's all we need.
Barack Obama. Steve, man, thanks for sending in your beer. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
How long you been homebrewing, buddy?
I've been brewing about 2 years now.
Okay. Is this your first light American lager?
It is. Imagine that.
Wow. What made you want to brew this style?
I figured, why not? It's a challenge. It's different. It's not
challenge.
an IPA. There's that.
That's what everybody says when I ask why they brewed this. It's a challenge.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah. / it's not IPA, which I, for one, appreciate.
Yeah. See, I did it for you, JP.
Thank you. And Lee commented that you spelled light properly, and he appreciates that.
Yeah, I followed the style guidelines.
Yeah,
there you go.
For style. There you go.
So what do you hope to get out of this session here from the doctors? A little tips on how to brew, or just overall impressions, or anything specific?
Yeah, overall impressions. I also want to see how my beer can hold up traveling 3,000 miles in the middle of the summer, and then you probably storing it on your roof somewhere or something like that.
Yeah, well, this one I dug a hole. I put it in the ground, so at least it's more cellar temp than not. Because it's raw. It was like 100 today, and that's just too much.
See if my fermentation schedule is good and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, Lee, why don't you start us out, buddy?
All right. Do we want to open this thing up?
We probably should. Probably should do that. Yeah, don't leave me out of the circle, dude. The sash. Sash? No? Okay. Session?
No, it's whatever. Yeah,
that's that other show.
We can't have a circle without JP.
That's true.
Don't interpret that statement.
That's true. Wow, that's clear, man.
It's clear like beer. There we go.
That's good.
All right. So what do we think?
Actually, that's all Steve wanted. It's clear? Good.
It's
Love
clear.
it.
It looks like
Perfect.
beer.
All
Yeah.
set.
I'm happy.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Good
Have
job.
a great
Next.
day.
Yeah. All right. Aroma, a grainy malt, slight wordiness. It's a little bit of a sweet hint in there. Very low. I was getting some kind of hints of pineapple and banana cream kind of esters. Didn't get any hops. Didn't really pick up any DMS or diacetyl or sulfur. So good job on that side. I did think that I was getting a little bit of esters, though, and that's really shouldn't be in the style. So it wasn't the sort of green apple that you might get if you use the infamous AB yeast. So maybe a little bit of a warm ferment or something going on with the fermentation there. Otherwise, actually, it's pretty good for style. Just a little bit of nice maltiness and just a touch. Appearance, pale yellow, straw color, yellow/straw. Brilliant. Pours a medium creamy foam that fades to a light cover, although in these glasses it just evaporates the head, but maybe that's because of the banana cream soap they're using here. Fades to a light cover, which is all very much to style. I thought the beer was maybe a little bit on the dark side for this style. I mean, it's a pretty pale beer, but most light beers, you pour them in a little glass and they're almost like water. And this has got a little bit of a gold hue to it. It's pretty, though. Looks very nice. Flavor, medium-low maltiness, Pils malt style. A touch of apple here, and then a touch of some of these tropical fruit ester notes. Very low spicy hop flavor, as noted. Balanced just with the bittering, just enough to support it. Finishes a little bit sweet with lingering malt, some esters, a touch of a mineral note. I thought, again, the esters are a bit higher than typical, and a touch of a tropical note to them. And it seemed a little bit sweet in the finish, too, for style. I mean, these beers are basically damn near water for the most part. So having any sort of residual sweetness or maltiness or residual sugar seems to be a little bit out of place. Mouthfeel, medium-low body, which seems high for the style. It should be low to very low. Medium carbonation, could be a little more carbonated. These beers are actually famous for being highly carbonated to the point where they almost sting. A little bit of carbonic bite is expected. Not alcoholic, hot or astringent. A little bit of a creamy finish, which was nice. Overall, it seems a bit rich for style, but very appealing. Sum it up, very pleasant, drinkable beer with a nice balance, good quenching power. For the light lager style, it seems just a little bit rich and sweet, which isn't saying it's particularly rich or sweet, but, it's got a little bit of detectable malt, and it doesn't finish like water, which he should pretty close to do. It's almost more like what I expect from a pre-pro lager or some other very light lager style, like a very light version of a pre-pro. Yeah, those were pretty much my notes. I gave it a 33 in the end, so, it's a decent beer. I think it probably could be dried out a little bit more and maybe a little attention to the fermentation to get those yeasts a little less flavor productive.
Is there
Ryan?
a famous light lager called 33?
That was a Vietnamese beer, I think. It was the national lager from there. I don't remember if that was a light lager. If they have a light version, they probably do. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, it might just be a standard lager.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The premium export version. Yeah.
Well, all right. I'm also drinking this beer, and yes, in the aroma, it has a low, bready, grainy malt. There's pretty substantial malt for the style in there. I thought I had a little hint of some sulfur in there, which a little DMS is okay for the style, and it is. Those things will poke through a little bit with such a light beer. You'll get a little bit of sulfur in there with a really light lager like this. There's not much to hide behind. Yeah, it was okay for style. I thought I got a little bit more than that, though. Kind of a little bit more of a cooked kind of vegetable kind of aroma. But it wasn't too distracting. It's pretty clean overall. Clean lagering. No diacetyl. No other bad stuff. No acetaldehyde. I didn't get the esters that Lee did. I got kind of a low, spicy, light little hop in there, maybe spicy and earthy, kind of faint in the background. But yeah, otherwise, you're almost a little bolder than you'd expect, but it's pretty good. Appearance-wise, it has a nice, brilliant clarity, like Lee said, and it is kind of dark straw with kind of a yellowy tinge in the color. It is actually brilliantly clear, yeah. I think the one I poured last night was... had a little tiny bit of haze, but it was kind of dark out, too. Or it was getting dark. I don't know. No, it wasn't dark yet. I don't know. What am I talking about? I thought I saw a faint bit of haze, but it was probably just dust falling off the rooftop or something. I don't know.
It's actually asbestos.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and you'll be dead in 10 years.
Yeah.
The perfect accompaniment for a light lager.
Right. Yeah. It did kind of lack... It had a little frothy-looking head that faded fairly quickly. As they can in this style, but it did seem like maybe the carbonation was a little low just from how low the head poured. In the flavor, a lot of what Lee said, a light, basic kind of bready, grainy malt flavor in there. The bitterness is pretty low and out of the way. I found a little bit of kind of a doughiness. It's just a little bit bold for the style, and I thought I got a hint of like maybe an edge of a little bit of papery oxidation creeping in. Just tasted just a tiny bit stale in the flavor. I liked it a little bit more in the aroma than in the flavor. The balance is slightly to the malt with a pretty kind of a medium dry finish. There's just you can get a hint of sweetness if you try. These things are generally kind of bone dry, so that was a little bit of a surprise there too. You had a little something there in the finish there, but.
There is.
It's pretty close.
To me, it almost tastes like sweet and low, and I don't mean that as an insult or anything, but it's like a prickly sweetness, if that makes sense. Like a right. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. Like you added sugar, but and you know what I mean?
Powdery sweetness.
Yeah, something like that. Does that make sense?
Sort of.
Or am I high?
Yes,
you're high
on peyote. Okay.
No, he's not here.
But yeah, it seemed pretty cleanly lagered overall, and flavor had a lot of good points to it. It was pretty close to what you expect, but it doesn't taste exactly like any of the light beers. I guess you could go back and listen to our light American lager Smackdown, or was that standard American lager? That was a fun one. I don't remember.
I think it was wasn't it
Budweiser? I think it was the regular Budweiser and the Coors Banquet beer. And we did a whole show on that, and that was just the regular versions. Actually, I mean, you might enter this as almost as a regular version if you really wanted to. It's bordering on light flavors, but it's got enough boldness that you could probably get away with standard American lager entry. Anyway, we can talk about your recipe and stuff when we get to that. But yeah, body wise and mouthfeel wise, it did have kind of a medium high maybe carbonation, but it was a little light for the style. It should just be foaming out like crazy and prickling in your mouth. Medium light body, no warmth, a little bit of carbonic bite, not as much as you need in this kind of beer. No real harshness or astringency, which was nice, and it wasn't, it was just it felt like it should, just a little low on the carbonation. But yeah, overall pretty smooth drinking light American lager.
Absolutely.
The oxidation and the faint little vegetable notes, to me, kept it wasn't quite as refreshing as I wanted it to be. It's nice, and it was actually a nice hot day when we were judging it it's a nice hot day now, we're in air conditioning. We were sitting on my patio judging this a couple nights ago, Lee and I, and it was the right environment for it. So it was kind of cool that we got to judge it as that. And this is a good day to have a light American lager. Wasn't quite as refreshing as I wanted. It has a, pretty nice clarity, nice color. Here we go. Many of the other desired elements that make you want to make love. In the afternoon. Or drink beer.
Sorry, I had to. It was just it was right. It was wide open.
So yeah, I mean the issues that I'm pointing out are just mostly minor things too, and just kind of taking care of the yeast, ensuring the health, vitality, like a huge vigorous pitch to get it to dry out just a little bit more, and clean up any little less desirable flavors in there. They weren't really bad because there's not much time behind in this beer. It is super light. It's very hard to make this.
That's a key point.
And yeah, you do want to be careful to cool it very, very quickly after you boil it with this one. There's a lot of Pils malt in there, and it's going to, the DMS will stick out like a sore thumb, even if there's just a little tiny bit. Mm-hmm. So keep those DMS vegetal notes down, and this is a stellar beer. I gave it a 33 also, but pretty tasty stuff. And
wow. Yeah.
If it's your first attempt at a light American lager, I'd say, kudos. That's
pretty good.
Well done.
Yeah, you're off to a good start. And I think that nowhere to hide point is it's always brought up, and it's very important for this beer. It's such a light thing. There's so little to hide behind. Mm-hmm. Any beyond even mistakes, any little bit of balance issue is going to show like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
And really, this beer is very tasty. It's clean. It's very appealing. It's very drinkable. If you want it to really be a by the numbers light lager, it just needs to be crisper and a little more carbonated.
And a lot of that comes back to also what Lee said too about there was a little bit of a minerally element in there, and I don't disagree with that. Water wise, it makes a big difference the kind of water you're going to use in your light lager of any kind or light ale. You want generally fairly soft water, low, moderately, pretty low calcium, pretty low alkalinity, low sulfate, kind of moderate chloride, and you want to acidify your water for sparging and mashing. You don't have much there to add acidity to it with just the Pils malt that you're using to brew it with, and so you want to keep your water happy and keep those enzymes working in your mash to make it do what you want there. But I'm curious if you did any water treatment, if you started RO and built it up, or if you have just your house water, what your profile's like.
What did you do there, Steve?
The water is just filtered. It's my house water, but I did add some gypsum to bring down the mash pH. So, potentially that's where maybe you're getting that mineral character.
Probably, yeah.
Do you do any pH testing? Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll obviously keep it in like the 5.5 range.
Instead of doing that, you might just you might have better results just adding a little lactic acid to your water to get it to the pH that you want.
Right.
And
with this one, I was just aiming to get up to that 50 ppm calcium.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, true.
Desirable in this style beer or not, I'm not sure. I know that's like the recommended minimum.
So you did it mainly for pH, but
yeah, and also to just try to bump my calcium up to that 50 ppm.
Okay, is that appropriate for the style?
Up to 50 is, I mean, 50 you wouldn't want to go any higher than that, really.
That's kind of what's recommended for basic yeast health, too. Yeah. And just to have that much calcium around, because the yeast needs it for its metabolism.
Okay.
Whether that's appropriate to style or not, I don't know. But certainly you don't need it once you're out of the mash. So if you just have it in the mash water, that's all you need it. You don't need it for all your sparge water. So a little acid added to the sparge water can keep the pH from rising while you sparge.
Yeah.
And, some lactic acid, or if you have access and training for such things, a little food-grade phosphoric is probably more like what the big guys use. But
phosphoric.
If you don't have that sort of training,
I'll stick to lactic.
Mess with that. Yeah. Good idea.
Got that, so I can use that.
Yeah, definitely just use it in your mash water only. Don't treat all the brewing water with that.
Speaking of water, we were talking before the show about the eye dip. You guys, we were talking about a little bit that you guys had remember it from NHC.
Yeah.
Did you see it, Brian?
I saw a lot of things at NHC, and then I did an epic
most that you would remember
bottling wine elevator vertical that
Jesus
might have us in trouble with the establishment's ownership there, but we left a few bottles up on the 10th floor, but
you're going to ruin it for everybody.
Empty bottles.
But the iDip is pretty cool. So you can do these measurements on the fly, and it's transfers right to an app on your smartphone, and you can do these mineral, figure out your minerals, and it's a pretty cool system. It's a little handheld photometer, you need a little bit of your water, and that way you can actually know exactly what you're putting in, instead of when you build up RO and you can do all the math and you add in your chemicals. How do you know that your scale is not off? By a 100th of a degree or whatever it is, right? Degrees. You use degrees in measurement, right?
Temperature, Play-Doh,
yeah, but not
ppms for minerals.
Yeah, I don't know.
Degrees, not usually. No.
Check them out.
That's not a chemical thing.
If you guys are into, trying to get a little bit more out of your water treatment, smartbrewkit.com. And we even have a code because they're a nice sponsor of ours, TBN15 for the Brewing Network 15. But TBN15, and you get a little discount on there. And, it's a cool thing. Check it out, smartbrewkit.com for all your water needs. What do you think? Pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
I think the thing is rad, man. And, if you're looking for to take your water to the next level. Steve, do you have any questions for the guys?
Not really any questions, I guess.
Do you want to yell at them a little bit?
Yeah.
All right, go for it.
Go for it.
Please. Yes, we need a session like
this. Do you think it would do better in competition as a standard American lager or a light American lager?
Do you agree with that, Lee? I thought it might.
I think you might have better luck as a slightly higher gravity beer. Yeah, it just seems a little bit sweeter than what I would expect from a light lager.
All right.
They might say it's not quite bold enough. I don't know. Yeah, it's like kind of in between the two.
Somewhere
honestly,
in the middle there. Yeah.
It's riding the line, riding the rail.
All right.
Well, if you entered it in as a standard, let us know, man. Let us know how you did.
Or entered as both. If you got, there
you go,
$16
you got
burning a hole in your pocket.
Bottles and money to burn. Yeah.
Who doesn't these days?
Right?
Let's be honest. What homebrewer is flush with cash?
Tony is.
That's true.
They should all enter the Oktoberfest competition also, which is the entry window's open right now. And, drop-off locations in all around the Bay Area here. But
they'll accept shipments from 3,000 miles away.
Yeah, what's the
you can ship them to the More Beer in San Leandro. And you just go on madzimmergist.com/Oktoberfest. And that's our little competition.
Are you doing light American lagers in that?
We're doing German styles only, so sadly, no.
Could this be a...
So you can make it pass as a
Kolsch?
Yeah. This would fare poorly as a Kolsch, I would say, yeah.
Because there's no... okay. I see that. All right, Steve. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. If you have nothing else left for the guys, any curse words or compliments?
No, I just wanted to tell you about my fermentation.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
I pitched in about 44 degrees, and I slowly let it rise like 1 or 2 degrees a day, all the way up to about 70 degrees. So I was kind of doing the fast lager fermentation kind of thing, trying to crank this thing out. So, I was wondering, do you think that had anything to do with maybe those fruity esters you're talking about?
Hard to say. Well, so most of the esters are going to get produced in the first day or two of the ferment,
right?
Where you have it nice and cold. Maybe I would wait a couple days before you start ramping up,
right?
So you don't get any into that territory. Certainly 44 should be a pretty good starting pitch temperature for this, and you could try lower, but at some point your yeast are just going to give up on it.
Right.
70 seems pretty high, but
yeah, I let it come all the way up to room temperature, and then I just kind of let it sit for a few days and then crashed it down.
Yeah, well, your yeast definitely reabsorbed all that diacetyl there, so you did. It did what it's supposed to at that temperature.
Yeah, no problems with diacetyl or acetaldehyde here. That's
you don't need to go up that high. You can go up to 68 if you want, but I think you can get away with a diacetyl rest up low 60s, right, Lee?
Probably, yeah.
With a lager.
I mean, I think usually it's what, just like a 5 or 6 degree bump or something. Yeah. I don't remember the number. You don't need a big bump at the end to do a diacetyl rest.
Yeah. So just leave it a little bit longer at that 44. That's a good temp. Or
you want to probably ramp up towards 50 towards the end of your fermentation. I mean, depending on what you're going for, but yeah, if you can keep it.
Pitching at 44 is fine.
I think that should be good. Yeah.
Okay, and then because he said he left it for a couple days,
and that's good.
You recommend
I kind of followed the Jamil advice. 44, let it rise up to 50 over a couple days, and then at that point, I just kind of let it keep going instead of letting it stay at 50.
I would have let it stay at 50 a little bit longer and finish out most of what's there, and then ramp it up another 10 degrees or something. But yeah, I didn't get a lot of fruitiness. Lee got a little bit of it, a
little bit, but not much. I wouldn't be overly concerned about it.
Oh, this is an ale. What's wrong with you? It tastes like a lager.
Right. So just not as crisp and flavorless as you guys wanted.
Yeah, add more water.
Yeah.
Right,
what was your starting and terminal on this?
Oh, it was I think it was 1040, and it went down to 1007.
That should be lower, right?
I would almost think if you start at 1040 for a beer like that, it should be a little lower. How about adjuncts and mash temperature?
Let's see. Well, if you'll turn your Brewing Classic Styles book to page...
Nah, it's right out of the book, huh?
Right out of the book, yeah, pretty much exactly.
We have that.
It's like 80% I used American 6-row and 20% flaked rice. And I think I mashed at like 149. I'd have to check that, but I think, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you could do a little bit lower on the mash tab. Maybe like 145, 146. Might dry it out a touch more.
All right. Yeah, I can try that.
Yeah, I mean, these things can finish even below 1 if you really, if you have a high percentage of... Yeah, if you have a really high percentage of adjunct in it, that stuff finishes out pretty much to 0, and that's what helps drive down those finishing gravities. I mean, if you start at towards 1050... Yeah, it might finish out at 1007-ish, 1008. But yeah, if you're starting 1040s, mid 1040s, it should go down to 1005 or lower, I think.
I think I remember looking at this in the guidelines and actually said it could go down as low as 0.998, below lighter than water.
It can actually go down.
Yeah, because there's so little in there.
That's like wine terminal gravity.
Yeah. I guess the other question is, what yeast strain did you use?
I believe it was the White Labs American Lager.
All right, well, that should be able to go there then.
Yeah, and I did. I think I did a 2-step starter on that one. Tried to just get as much yeast as possible.
2-step. How big a batch?
It was 5 gallon. Well, 5.5.
5.5. And 2 steps. You mean you took a pack and you bumped it up twice?
Yeah.
That should be plenty of yeast.
That ought to do it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Could it just be water?
A lot of it could be water, yeah. Some of the flavors that are poking through.
I mean,
the maltiness will play off of a minerally water a little differently than it will off of slightly softer water, and as well as the hoppiness. So
what can you add to water to crispen it up, to harden it up? Because that's what it seems to me. It seems like it's too soft.
Well, if you wanted to crispen up the flavor profile, the sulfate's the thing to add, but you don't want a lot of minerals in this.
Right.
I'm not sure the water is the problem. If you've got a terminal gravity of 1007, you said, that's probably really in the high end of this style, and his starting gravity was on the low end.
So you think drying the beer out?
Dry the beer out, dry the recipe, lower mash temperature, maybe up the percentage of adjuncts a bit. 20% isn't that high. You can go a lot higher. I mean, you can go 40, 50%
to take more of that malt
of the
out.
rice.
I think like 30 is average,
Yeah.
Okay.
If you really want to cheat, you can even add a little sugar.
Oh,
I didn't say that. We don't advise people to cheat here.
I'll blame it on Jamil because his recipe goes from 1038 to 1007 in the book. So
okay,
I mean, when you put corn adjunct in a beer, that's what you're getting is corn sugar. It's getting converted in the corn is getting converted into corn sugar, and then you're fermenting that shit out, and that's what it is. It's not like adding a little corn sugar is going to hurt you that bad.
Yeah, and he's shooting for a richer recipe, so it sounds like you actually pretty much hit his numbers.
Or some rice sugar, you know.
Hey. Still a little bit higher though. Will those 2 points make a difference? Do you think?
His what was his
1040,
1040, and his
it was 2
terminal
points
was
high from the
1038.
What about the terminal? What did the book say the terminal was going to be?
1007.
1007. You nailed that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think maybe this is just a richer example of the recipe.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems a little too. I mean, rich is the wrong word for the style, but a little bit too sweet to really nail it to me. Actually, one thing which really would help a little bit more too is having the carbonation level up where it belongs, because that'll help cut maltiness as well.
Yeah,
it was a little bit low on carbonation.
And even something like the thickness of your kettle might have an effect in a beer like this. Where if you have a you probably have a nice thick bottom kettle. I'm hoping, but if you haven't had a thinner kettle and you're just starting home brewing it, and the heat goes straight through that and caramelizes some of those sugars a little bit, you're going to get some flavors in there that are going to add a little of that kind of slightly more malty, rich flavors to the beer than should be there.
Yeah, get a steam-fired system for your next
beer.
Yeah, why don't you do that? And then let us know.
Why don't you guys send me one? I'll be all set.
Perfect.
All right.
We'll
have Bev ship that right out.
Yeah.
Super prize for the end of the year. Yeah.
It's at the door right now. All right, Steve, we're going to let you go, man.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, bud.
Cheers.
All right.
All right, man. Later. Good beer. All right, we're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to have Mike on with his Summer Blonde Ale.
Summer Blonde.
Pretty excited for this one. Actually, both of these beers I'm excited for because they're, low alcohol, and I love that. Anyway, it's Dr. Homebrew back after this.
Do you know the 3 most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star Sand, SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5-Star treatment today. High Gravity Homebrewing Supplies wants you to keep it simple. Brewing should be fun. And with High Gravity's amazing electric brewing systems, it is. High Gravity keeps their brewing systems simple on purpose. More efficient than gas, customizable, and with your choice of 1, 2, or 3 vessels, High Gravity's electric brewing systems will completely change the way you brew beer, formulate recipes, and improve your beer's consistency. Dave at High Gravity can customize your system to fit your needs. High Gravity invites you to visit their Build Your Own Brewery page and see how easy it can be to brew electric. And High Gravity offers $7.99 flat rate shipping on most of their products. www.highgravitybrew.com. High Gravity. Keep it electric. Keep it simple. Visit highgravitybrew.com. Admit it. Homebrewing is not always free of frustrations. Years ago, brothers Bill and Jim Mitchell decided to minimize those frustrations and create an entirely new brewing process and a brand new kitchen appliance, the Pico Brew Zymatic. The Zymatic sits on your kitchen counter and connects to the internet via Wi-Fi. It comes with access to a huge recipe library full of award-winning beers and can brew your next batch at the push of a button. Improve repeatability and refine your recipes days with the Pico Brew Zymatic. With minimal cleaning and hassle, the Zymatic enables anyone to brew craft beer in the comfort of their own kitchen. Just add your ingredients and the process of homebrewing becomes simplified and automatic, allowing you to focus on what really matters while you brew. At Pico Brew, they believe everyone should be able to enjoy the art of homebrewing and make their own damn good craft beer. See the Zymatic in action today at picobrew.com. Attention homebrewers, if you like making labels for your handcrafted awesomeness and wish more people could see how great you are, then check this out. Grog Tag, the makers of custom reusable labels, and craftbeerandbrewing.com are hosting the first ever National Homebrew Label Awards. The top 10 labels will be featured at the 2015 National Homebrewers Conference in San Diego to more than 5,000 attendees, and more than $2,500 in prizes will be awarded. If you've created a label at any time in the past year, you're eligible to enter. Grog Tag and Craft Beer and Brewing have teamed up with great sponsors like More Beer and the Brewing Network to make this competition a great one to enter. Submit your entries between March 1st and June 1st for your chance at fortune and glory at homebrewlabelawards.com. That's homebrewlabelawards.com. Submit your label entries today. Good luck, and we'll see you in San Diego.
I'm sorry to tell you this, but we're going to have to pour you out.
Back to Dr. Homebrew.
All right. Thanks a lot for hanging out with us, everybody. Just got off the phone with Steve, and then now we're about to speak with Mike. Mike, are you with us?
Yes.
How you doing, man?
Good.
Wow.
Thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
No problem.
Skype's sounding good tonight.
Skype's doing well tonight. I'm pretty impressed. Knock on wood. Knock on wood. So, Mike, how long have you been a home brewer?
Probably about 4 years.
Okay, 4 years. And is this your first run at a summer blonde? Well, first of all, what is a summer blonde? What's your version about?
What's my version about?
Yeah. Because it could mean anything, right? I mean, I have no idea.
Right. It's I just want something light, refreshing. I used a Belgian yeast, which is a little odd for a blonde, but and then I also I made mead last year and I really enjoyed that, so I threw some honey in this. I think like 1.5 pounds, something like that.
Okay.
What kind of honey?
It was California honey. I was trying to get my local honey, but my honey guy was out, so
it'd be like
I didn't want to wait.
Orange blossom or a citrus blossom, maybe, or
right. I think
random
it was.
wildflower.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I think it was like wildflower or something like that.
Interesting. Yeah, so I guess we actually when we opened this up, it just said blonde ale.
Said blonde ale.
So we're figuring
yeah.
it's like American blonde ale. And we give it one sniff, and it's like, hold on a second.
There's nothing American about
It
it.
is like Belgian yeast full on. So I hope you don't mind.
See, I don't know what category to put it in.
Yeah, we classified this as a Belgian blonde. Which
right.
is a
18A.
18A, right.
But what, with the honey edition, what would it be? Would it be a Belgian blonde with honey, or would it be some sort of thing?
You could not say anything and put it in as a Belgian blonde, or you could say it's a Belgian blonde with honey, at which point it's probably a 23.
Okay.
I don't think honey classifies as a fruit or vegetable or herb. So
the Belgians will add anything to a beer. So
yeah.
I mean,
or,
it's a sugar source. It's going to dry out your beer, and that's fine for a Belgian.
So you're saying they're the whores of the beer
as long
world.
as it's not so substantial, you're going to start tasting honey flavors, and it tastes like a mead. You can get away with some of that.
No, not at all.
Without having a specialty category.
And for Belgians, they have their own specialty category, the 16E, which you could do. But yeah, if it's not like a dominant flavor, it's just a Belgian blonde.
Go with it.
You just use something cooler than cheapo white candy sugar.
Yeah. So you've never done anything like this before? You're just kind of messing around, trying to get something light and refreshing to drink in the summer. Okay.
When I brew beer, I don't really do the same style or the same beer more than once.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I'm not really the same way. I almost lied to you.
Kind of a seat of your pants type brewer, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's always something just kind of gets my attention, and I make that, and then if it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. But
have you made a Grodzicki?
Grodzicki.
A what?
A Grodzicki, which is the we had it on the last shows. They were it's a Polish smoked wheat malt that's like smoked oak wheat malt. It was 2.8% or something like that with like 20 IBUs.
Wow,
it's amazing,
and it's not sour.
It's not sour.
Not sour. Anyway, enough about that beer.
Yeah, let's jump into this beer, Brian.
Belgian blonde ale. We judged this as yes. It wasn't like a blonde. It must be an American blonde. No. Did not smell like that, so we had to judge it as something. Aroma-wise, I thought it has a very clean and pretty restrained spiciness from the Belgian yeast that's in there. It comes through right up front, but it's not over the top and biting. It's not like a phenolic bomb. The Pils malt in there is kind of medium low and inviting. It's got a lightly spicy note with kind of a juicy fruit-like fruitiness to it. The main fruit I would get in this is like there's a light orange ester in there. But overall, the esters I thought were a bit strong. It's not very, very phenolic, which you can get from some of the Belgian yeast. But I guess you said this is a Saison yeast. Anyway, it's not giving you a lot of spice like you get in some of the Belgian strong ales and things like that. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't seem that strong either. But color-wise, it's a pretty color, a rich golden colored beer with had kind of a chewy, clumpy head that stuck around for a fair amount of time when we poured it the other night. Kind of eggshell in color, mostly fine bubbles. It did have a little bit of light lacing going on. Flavor-wise, this juicy fruit, strong asteriness came through up front to me. It had a moderately strong, kind of a pithy orange flavor to it. It didn't have a whole lot of lemony zing to it. It was like kind of a medium orange. I don't want to say Gougon, but no, it doesn't taste like Gougon.
The hell's a Gougon?
So there's this like
it's an aquatic mammal.
There's a
did he ride with Genghis
Khan? It's like
Khan?
a citrus enamel remover.
It's Genghis Khan's son, right? Gougon.
No, it's that stuff you wash your hands with, right?
You can. Well, there's the orange hand cleaner thing. That's probably similar base. Like the citrus oils help get off. Like if you ever need a sticker removed from something that you bought at the store and the sticker's is impossible to remove,
just pour orange.
Get a drop of Gougon on it, and it smells like this orangey like.
Okay, do me a favor. Are you saying 2 words?
Two words.
Goo.
Yeah.
Goo gone. Okay.
Goo gone.
The goo be gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
That goo be gone. Goo gone. Okay. Okay.
Goo
I'm with
gone.
you. I'm with you for it.
Like anything sticky that you need removed here.
No, I got it
right
now.
there.
I'm all over
That's it.
No.
Oh, whoa, that was
okay.
not it.
So it's not
Anyway.
goo gone.
This is your Goo Gone right
okay,
there.
Great. All
For
right.
everybody out there.
Okay.
Okay. So it doesn't taste like that.
That's good.
But it made him think of it.
It made me think of that.
You hear that, Mike? It doesn't taste like a cleaner.
No.
great.
That's good, yeah.
Well, it doesn't have the solventy element to that, so yeah.
Soften a challenge with Saisons.
That's true, actually. I'll give you that.
In the flavor, I did get kind of a moderate alcohol flavor in there, and it seemed like there's a little firmness to this. But underneath that, there's a low, earthy floral hop in there, a little bit of spicy phenolic. It's not quite as smooth as I hoped it would be. It's just a little bit biting, and but in the mouthfeel, it's kind of a medium carbonation, medium full body, maybe a bit high on the body for the style. No astringency, and it is a bit creamy. Get a little bit of warmth in there in the back of the throat. It's just kind of a bold beer. I think it just needs to be a little less assertive here to me. But again, we're judging it as something that it probably is not. So as a beer, it's tasty and it's kind of bold and it's got a lot of good flavors. It's a pleasant drinking beer, pleasant drinking Belgian blonde. I thought it was just a little bit too sweet, a little bit more warming and assertive than you want it to be, and Gougon, more orangey and juicy fruit, than some of the more rounded estery flavors that you can get that might make it a little more enjoyable. It's just kind of a one-trick pony on the esters. It's like this orangey thing.
Yeah.
And that might be, there might be something in the honey source, too. You might have a citrusy honey that's giving it kind of an orange blossom flavor or something in there, or something else, some other blossom that's giving it a little kind of interesting flavor in the middle there. But yeah, you might back off on some of the richness to make it a smoother, more enjoyable summer blonde. If something's called a summer blonde, I want to be able to pound the shit out of that pretty much, and just have a pint and tip it back. Yeah. A pint of this would take me a while to drink, and it's pleasant. It's a good beer. I gave it a 34. Yeah. But yeah, you would also want to maybe, I don't know what your fermentation temperature is, but you might want to watch that fermentation temp, especially early on, and ensure your yeast is good and healthy and happy and sufficiently pitched. But, again, these are very subtle points overall. It's quite an enjoyable beer to drink. So thanks for sharing it with us, and I'll see what Lee says too.
Lee?
All right. I thought it was a decent blonde ale. After, as Brian said, we assumed it was Belgian by the flavor and aroma profile we got. Pretty much a nice Pils flavor and creaminess. Creaminess kind of hangs around. It's actually quite nice. I think it's a good thing in a beer like this. There were a few, other than that, generally I agree with what Brian said. There's a few things I got a little bit different, one or two of which I thought was a bit odd. The phenol character in here, I got a little bit of that sort of nice spicy Belgian white pepper kind of phenol.
Yes.
I also got a character that I get in a lot of saisons, which is an almost kind of bacony, bacon fat kind of aroma, like a smoky hickory bacon kind of phenol that was in here. And I've seen that in saisons before. I've even seen that in a couple of homebrewed Hefeweizen.
It's not a smoked summer blonde. You didn't get some of your amber ale in this, did you?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I heard you have an amber.
Maybe it got into everything. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, no DMS or diacetyl or anything, but the smoky character that I didn't think it was something I really liked that much. Other than that, the carbonation was low. And I think that might be part of what was driving our comments on how it seems a little rich for style. It just needs some more carbonation to help cut the body on it and make it seem a little more frothy and easily drinkable. I also picked up a bit of metallic note in the finish on this beer. So I don't know if you have any non-stainless or copper in your brewery, but if you do, you want to get rid of those. Other than that, I thought it was pretty decent beer. I'll agree with pretty much everything else Brian said, although I was getting more lemony than Gugan. But yeah, it was a pretty decent beer. I gave it a 29. Probably would have scored it higher if it went for that kind of hickory smoked bacony phenolic that was in there. And I do get that in a fair number of saisons. I don't know which saison, usually the French saison yeast, but I think any of them can do it. I'm not really quite sure what the deal with that is.
Is that mostly the aroma, Lee?
I got it in the flavor, too.
Yeah.
I definitely in the nose.
I think I'm getting a little bit of what you're talking about there. Yeah.
Well, and I think this is the second bottle we've got. This bottle is different. To me, there's something weird going in this bottle. But we judged the other one, and actually I think it was lucky that we got the other one. This one is tasting a little weird to me, and not like the other one did.
Is it warmer? Might be. Doesn't seem very cold.
No.
We might have adjusted a little colder at my house.
This one seems a lot more sour and maybe a little vegetal.
Yeah.
Which might be a bottling issue if it's this bottle and wasn't in the other. I didn't pick up anything like that in the other one.
That's a very interesting beer, though. The honey, when you mentioned honey and I started smelling it again, it's like, I started getting some kind of blossomy elements in there and maybe some wildflower or some citrus. But yeah, interesting way to... But it doesn't dry the beer out as much as you would think. I guess it's only 1.5 pounds in there. Seems like it finished pretty sweet. What did you end up at?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure where it ended up at. I used it's a Belgian saison yeast. I can't remember exactly which one, but it's a hard yeast. It can be really finicky, and it just doesn't want to dry out. So I ended up throwing in some Cal-El just to see what it would do, and I just got impatient.
Yeah.
So I think it could have dried out a little bit more if I would have, kept it in the primary.
When did you brew it?
It's been a couple months. It's been probably 3 months.
The one thing I've noticed with the saison yeast is they will dry things out very dry, but sometimes it takes them 2, 3, 4 months to do it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
After a month, it'll be like anything else, but it'll keep going.
Yeah. I probably just chose the wrong Saison yeast because I'm not extremely patient, and it was actually the first Saison type yeast I've ever used. So,
yeah. Well, what about recipe wise? What did you put in there for the malts? Do you already go over a little bit of that?
Let me look it up really quick. I have some just American Pale malt. Hold on, just one sec. There's 5 pounds of just American Pale malt, 4 pounds of white wheat. I put 7 ounces of acidulated malt from Wehrman, and then 1.5 pounds of honey.
That could be where you're getting some of that acidity there.
Mm-hmm.
That acidulated malt.
Yeah.
Do you usually need something to balance out a beer this color?
You know, it was my first time ever using it. I use RO and then just build from there. And I actually, it was too much. And so I ended up having to actually try to weigh it out with some bicarbonates, with some, baking soda to try to get it back up. But, yeah, it just, the brew day didn't go as smoothly as it could on this one.
Yeah.
But,
well, if you put some bicarbonate in there and got it back up, it should be okay.
Yeah.
What was your terminal gravity? Oh, you said you didn't know that. That's right.
Yeah, I didn't.
What was your start?
It seems pretty low, right? I mean,
I think it was like, probably 118, something like that, or 018, something like that.
Yeah,
1018.
No.
Yeah, it seems fairly sweet to me. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. It does. Okay. Right. Wow. Because I got a lot of
it seems drier
effervescence, and it does, right?
Yeah.
Like a spiciness, and that can kind of contribute to some of that.
Yeah.
To me, I thought it was a little drier than that, but what do I know?
Maybe a little mineraliness is making it feel dry, like some of the carbonate in there or something.
What do I know? I'm real handsome,
You don't have to know anything.
I don't have to know
that
anything.
Guy, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Let people just give you shit. Just go through life like that.
Yeah, me and Paris Hilton. Mike, do you have any questions for the guys?
No, it's awesome to get feedback, one-on-one. Because as when he was talking about the orange, I could tell, you know what I mean? The orange was pretty high. I got a lot of lemon before, but I think that I'm a little confused on what orange and lemon taste like.
I was calling it lemon myself, to be honest.
Lee picked out some lemon, and it's the acidity that's there. It can taste that.
It's very similar, and I wonder if it's just because it's such a low amount. You got to go either way. But I think maybe are you right on the cusp where the flavors aren't really solidifying one way or the other.
Well, there's a lot of wheat malt in here too. That was kind of you had like 4 pounds of wheat. You said, is it in a 5 pound? That's a lot to use. It's almost like, it's a wheat summer. But it's nice.
Yeah, when I tried to figure out where to put it in a category, when I was filling out that just the paperwork on it, I was like, I don't know. I'll just throw something out there and see where it lands.
Yeah. When you don't know, just enter it as category 23 and write everything that you taste in the beer. Like, well, it has, if you taste the honey that you put in there, declare the honey. If you taste the wheat that you put in there, declare the wheat. Whatever it is,
Right.
But whatever is going to come through a judge and speak to them as to what you intended for this recipe is going to be good to enter on a judging sheet. Say, okay, it's a specialty beer. I was going for a summer blonde with American wheat ale with Belgian Saison yeast and a little bit of honey or whatever,
Right. Okay. I see how
that might not help. I don't know, but sometimes
who knows?
Yeah, sometimes simpler is better. You could throw a little Pils malt in there and lighten it up a little bit. Maybe there's a lot of different directions you could go with this, but it's kind of a fun beer. I enjoyed tasting it, and thanks for sharing it.
Yeah, and I have a quick question about the metallic taste. I use an electric brew system, so it uses heating elements. Do you think that could be what's giving it that taste?
Is this designed for brewing?
It's not designed. Well, Yeah, I've designed it for brewing.
So if you've got metals other than stainless or copper touching your beer wort, you got to be careful because that's where.
Okay.
I mean, if it's like brass or aluminum, you might be getting some metal ions off of those metals.
Okay.
So if it's your heater, or even if it's like some valve fitting on the outflow that's a brass fitting, that's kind of a no-no. You can get up some nasty flavors from that.
You need a steam generator and a steam heating system there for your...
Yes, we all need that.
Yeah, that's what we're going to tell everybody from now on.
Yeah. I think in 6 months, Brian's going to come out with his own line of steam-jacketed
5-gallon homebrew system. Yeah.
He's just priming everyone's psyche right now. Well, Mike, if that's it, we'll let you go.
Yeah, cool.
All right. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, send us another beer sometime.
I will.
All right, buddy. Cheers.
See ya.
All right, bye. I don't seem like I was rushing him, but it's kind of rushing him.
Oh. No,
we're up against the gun, but I think
we got
all those questions were answered.
Some good information there.
Yeah.
We shared. Yeah, we learned a lot about his beer.
We did. We learned a lot. We laughed a lot. And more importantly, Brian, we loved a great deal.
In the afternoon.
In the afternoon. Delightful. Delightful.
Yes.
Okay, we have some prizes to give away. We have the Grog Tag $40 At Least Your Beer Will Look Good gift certificate, and that goes to very tongue-in-cheek, of course, all in good fun. The brewer with the lowest score, and that person is...
That ends up being Mike.
Mike.
With the Mondale.
All right, Mike, you got $40, man, to spend at grogtag.com. Check it out. Metal signs, coasters, mini tags, wine labels, beer labels, you name it, man. They got it. All customizable. You can really trick out your bottle. Actually, I spent almost $300 at GrogTag the other day on wedding stuff.
Yeah.
So we made like a metal sign that we're going to write our bar, like our beer list on, and all this kind of stuff, man. It's going to be cool.
Got a picture of your face on it?
No, we have a little logo. I don't want to spoil it for people who are...
don't spoil.
You should have all your guests sign the metal sign when you're done, too.
Well, we thought about it, but they're not... I don't think it's going to be big enough.
Oh.
Not that the thing is small, but I think...
You've just got too many friends.
Yeah.
Too many people like you, JP.
That's true.
We're trying to figure out why.
I don't know why either. So Mike won that. That means Steve won the gift certificate to High Gravity Homebrew. That's pretty cool, right?
What can you get there?
You can get basically anything you can brew with. Check it out, highgravityhomebrew.com. You have ingredients, you have equipment, you have knowledgeable, friendly people.
Steam-jacketed brewing systems?
Probably not. I don't think that exists at such a low
If anybody
volume.
has them.
Yeah, right.
Maybe.
Who knows? But Desiree over there is really nice, and she's a big supporter of Dr. Homebrew. So check them out, highgravityhomebrew.com. And, of course, you're going to get our lovely main sponsor, 5-Star. You'll get a nice little package from 5starchemicals.com. And
yay, prizes!
Yeah, prizes are fun, man. And thanks to everyone who entered, and thanks for waiting and doing all the kind of stuff that we do over here. If you like programming like this, of course, you know about our other shows on the Brewing Network, such as The Session and Brew Strong, and all that kind of other fun stuff that really kind of keeps you away from terrestrial radio.
But thanks to our loyal listeners who only listen to us and don't listen to any of that other stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
No, just kidding. Those other shows
both of them, yes.
Yes. Well, I mean, you can listen to anything you want, but if you donate, be sure to write in the donate form that you only listen to Dr. Homebrew, or that this money's specifically for us because we're so amazing, right?
And we are.
Or something. I don't know.
We are. Humble, too. Yes.
All right, everyone. Thanks a lot. It's been Dr. Homebrew, and it's been a lot of fun. And we'll catch you guys later.